Broadcasting from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, to around the globe. You're listening to Shark Bite Biz, your exclusive place for business strategy, sales, marketing, and tech in the roaring 20s. And now, here's your host, David Strausser.
Welcome to the newest episode of Shark Bite Biz. I'm your glamorous host, David Strausser, and this is your place to learn how to grow a business during complete chaos. Today's episode is all about new business, creating a new business, and, somebody in their life just wanting more than what they currently have and really taking control of their future. I love it. You're gonna love it. First, though, remember, if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to the channel. Only $3 a month, you can become a baby shark. Helps us get money in our pockets to make this show bigger and better. One day, I'd love to have a full set behind me, but if giving money through big tech isn't your thing, no problem. Get fresh coffee at deadhousecoffee.com. Use code SHARK. You'll get 20% off your order. And again, all the proceeds help us making the biggest, best show we possibly can. So back to today's show. Starting a business is tough. I mean, we just had on a few episodes ago the president of Liberland about starting a country, but whether it's a country or a business, it is tough. And sometimes people just have a greater calling. And with that, I think they get a little bit lucky when things just happen to line up perfectly for them. But the big difference is a lot of people might have things line up perfectly, but they ignore the calling. Today's guest did not do that. He totally seized the opportunity, and he had the people around him to support and enable him. You're going to love this story. So, who is today's guest? Oh, so glad you asked. Mr. Maury Pittman. Maury Pittman is the founder of Maurys Hive Tea. After being a personal trainer for 20 years, helping people stay fit, he started to realize he can't do this forever. He wanted something more. He discovered a new way to package tea to make it more convenient for consumers. After growing his business, he likes to pull everything full circle by helping minorities and people of color get started with their businesses as well. Family has been a big driver for him, as his youngest child was born with epilepsy and gave him a whole new view of life. So, hey, without further ado, let's bring Maury on in here.
Small Biz Spotlight.
Maury, welcome
Hello.
to Shark Bite Biz. Buddy, you just became Shark Bait.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate it.
You heeded my advice and you thanked me live on the air. Thank you, Mario. I appreciate that. So, as I was just telling you, we have one standard question. We ask everybody, doesn't matter how famous you are. I love hearing it out of our guest mouth themselves. I want them to tell us a story. Who are they? What's your background? What's your experience? What do you do for a living? How did you get where you're at? Basically, tell us all. What's the secret recipe that makes Maury Maury?
All right. That's a good question.
A loaded question.
A loaded question. Well, my history. Before I became a tea entrepreneur, I'm still a current personal trainer. I've been doing training for about 20 plus years. I still do it mostly part-time now because obviously, I had to put more time into my tea. And being a personal trainer over the years, obviously I love taking care of other people, but when it comes to taking care of myself physically, I'm not young by any means. I'll tell my age, I don't care. I'm 54
How
years
old
old.
are you then? Tell your age.
54, sir.
54. You do not look a day over 53, Maury.
And looking good. Damn right.
There you go.
But there you go. But no, seriously, I mean, I have a huge passion for helping other people. And I know that sounds cliches, but, my job as a trainer, I work in pretty much affluent areas. I target those areas for a reason because, again, to make a living, with this job, a lot of times people do come and go. But if you can catch that 5 or 6, help them, transform the body and make them look and feel better, they usually stay with you. So that's how I became really disciplined I've been my own boss forever, so once I got
and
that
that does
started,
take discipline to be your
yes,
own
it
boss.
does.
I mean,
Yes,
personal training is a little bit of a passive industry. Now we've had, let's see, Matt Bagansky, we had her, we had him. So you're probably the fourth, as far as I know, fourth personal trainer we've had on this show. And most of them are doing personal training now. One of them actually was a funeral director and went into personal training. I mean, it's crazy how that stuff has overlap, but it's hard when you're in personal training because, you have to practice what you preach because you have to be accountable to yourself and make sure you actually do the work as well, too, to, timely appointments, all that stuff.
Right. Absolutely. And that's a good point because for me, I love to take care of I love to work out. I've been doing it forever. I played college football. I graduated obviously years ago. And, once it's funny, the quick story, I went to do an internship at Sikorsky and I'm sitting there for the first time at 6-month internship right out of college. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. I was just too active. So at the time I was doing martial arts, taking martial arts. So I started helping my sensei out. And then he decided, he goes, maybe you should get into the fitness world. And I thought about it. And I said, let's give it a shot. So I actually started working with people before I even got my license, right? Before my certification.
I'm not going to tell anybody.
Well, you know what? And I did tell people at the time that
you have to remember though, at the time back then, because you're talking almost maybe 30-ish years roughly. Yep. I mean, things weren't as strict. You hearing that today, and you'll be like, especially if you're stricter for the rules, you're probably shaking your finger at them. But realistically, back then, there was still regulations, rules, stuff like that, but it wasn't as strict as it is in 2021.
Right, and I agree, and I'm part of that because as a trainer, give me an example. During 2008, we had the economy crash. Well, one of the top 5 jobs that was thriving at the time, number 5 was personal training. So we got this influx of everyone coming in to get certifications, whether it be former hairdressers or you name it, all walks of life. Said, okay, I want to become a trainer. So it kind of flooded my industry for a while. And a lot of people got hurt during that time out of lawsuits. So I
kind of like podcasts during COVID. Everybody started a podcast. I started a podcast during COVID. Personal branding. It's like, hey, let's do something.
That's right. Well, that's how I also made my money too. I did a couple of Zoom classes. So, that was the thing to do because, you had to figure out a way to come up out of that. But, as a trainer, I'm the first impression. So in other words, if you see me walking towards you and I'm being introduced as your trainer, of course, the first thing you can do is give me a once over, up and down, like this is my trainer. That's first impression. So for me, working out, taking care of myself was, it was like sleeping. I had to do it. And I made it such a part of my life to this day. When we're done with this conversation, I'm going to go get a quick workout, but it's passion. It's what I love to do. And my biggest thing working with people, I love to see results. Results. I don't just take your money and say, let's meet me 2 to 3 days a week and let's work out. And I did nutrition for a while, which I didn't really care for. But the personal training part was, and to this day, it's rewarding. And believe it or not, I met a lot of people that I met, starting my business for the tea, I met at the gym. Because everyone works out, everyone takes care of themselves.
Right.
So they're coming in and out. Yeah.
Were any of them your clients at all, or were they just people at the gym?
Nope. I would say majority were my clients. Either they took my classes or I was one-on-one training with them. So
amazing how that works out because I personally believe in never burning bridges. I mean, I've burnt a few bridges. I've poured gasoline on them and torched them down, but young and dumb. But realistically, 2008, we have a lot of parallels in our story that we'll get through, as we continue our discourse. But, I had to go into independent consultant, and that's where I started, taking American Tech down into Mexico because I couldn't find the job in I was living in Tijuana at the time and then Peru, but I couldn't find a job at the time that actually paid me what I felt was realistic for me to support my family, and
Right.
more importantly, what I was worth. But I could find short-term contracts to carry out specific missions that combined carried me through. So that's where I really kind of focused on that. And it kind of rolls into the exact point of, what you were saying there, as far as how people helped you that you met at the gym. I ended up meeting people that helped me. In fact, one of my clients was the person who actually got me my current job that I've been with almost 6 years now with Vision 33, because he's just like, dude, you're killing yourself. You got so much talent.
Right.
Trust me,
Right.
come work for us. You'll kill it. And I went to work for them. I killed it. Number one guy. Then they promoted me to run their Northeast and East Coast division. So it's really, it's all about building those personal relationships. I think
Oh, absolutely.
the summary.
Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned that, because have you ever heard of the brand Bare Naked, the granola?
Bare Naked,
granola.
Yeah. Granola bar,
Right.
yeah. When you said Bare
Right.
Naked, a lot of things ran through my head. But once you say granola, it honed in.
Oh God, you got jokes. So I worked for the New York Sports Club for a lot of years, and a lot of my clients were based there. And Bare Naked, her name was Kelly. Kelly used to take my class. I did a boot camp class once or twice a week for about 7 years. And I pitched my idea to her at a wedding. One of our mutual trainers, one of my friends, a mutual trainer, was getting married. So Kelly and I were sitting, and I started talking about my idea. And she goes, "Talk to me, meet me after the wedding." So we did. And she goes, "Look, I think you have a great idea." She goes, "I think you should need to really do your research and put this into play." So when you say in-house, I met a lot, my graphic design artist for my artwork, to help me get my business license. I had the person to help me do that, all in-house. It was literally in-house. And then, when I started when I started making tea at home, I would put the boys down at night. I would go and I would make tea. This is how I got started. I used to come to the gym with, start with 50 tea bags, and I would literally sell them for $1 a bag. So I had a thing going with the front desk manager. "Look, if you help me sell these, I'll give you a cut of this." It started with,
That's
50
smart,
bags,
though.
right? And then it went up to 500 bags. And then we knew we were on to something. So myself and my partner, Melanie Smith, we decided, look, we should go, pull the strings on this and get it started. And it took a while to get it off the ground. Most businesses don't start overnight, obviously. But,
No.
We did our research. My mentor, I had a great mentor who was also a client.
Great.
He has since moved out to California, to Seattle, dealing with the heat right now. But, I would go to his house after our training session twice a week, and we work on a business plan. We worked on a business plan for about maybe 5 months, 4 or 5 months. I mean, this was well thought out, well written, well planned out business plan. It was about 100 pages. So we didn't present you with this 10-page business plan. It was graphs and the whole nine. And so when I went in front of potential investors, they knew I meant business. Plus again, they saw me physically and said, "Okay, a personal trainer trying to switch over to something different, entrepreneurship." And then I get the question, why tea?
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Why tea?
Why tea? Well, it's a good question. Well, my mentor, the story, which is also on the website, one day I was training him. It was in December, and I felt something coming on. It was a slight cold. He goes to his bag literally and pulls out a bag of green tea. And my first reaction was yuck. Because green tea has a bitter aftertaste. And I was never a green tea drinker per se. So I asked. I said, "Do you have a sweetener? Do you have any honey in that bag?" And he obviously jokingly said, "No." Then all of a sudden that night when I went home, I said, "Wait a minute, convenient. That would be convenient. If I could somehow figure out and put a sweetener inside the bag with the tea."
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course it was at its infant stage. So I started experimenting with different kinds of sweeteners, agave. We even tried regular cane. We tried a couple of brown sugar.
Agave. I love agave, mostly in tequila form. But I do love agave. The sweetener form of agave is good though too.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you do your research, you want to make sure before you push that, those brands that what you're talking about. Agave basically was more overhyped than what it really was when it came to the health. Yeah, when it came to the health benefits.
What about? I always say it wrong, but stevia, whatever you say.
Stevia.
Stevia.
Mhm.
We've had on this show Tom King, who is one of the biohacker food scientist people that discovered stevia and
Yeah.
came, he was on the show talking about it. And then he sent me the coolest shirt ever. It was, what was it? I forget. It'll come to me in a second, but it was a really cool shirt, and he sent us a lot of his products too, and it was amazing. Now, personally, I don't like stevia because whenever I tried the packets in my coffee or whatever, for some reason
Yeah.
it gives me jitters.
Yeah.
So I've
I like
stayed
the
away from it.
aftertaste. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But did you ever mix with that at all?
No, because as former nutritionist, I knew that those artificial sweeteners are not good for you. So they're
Okay.
pretty much all in the same family. Stevia,
Even though stevia
equal.
is essentially natural coming from a plant, you still view that as
Yeah,
artificial?
still have to process it, and
Okay. Fair
you
enough.
can't bring it from the plant to the table without some type of process. And again,
That's true.
and here the deal, it's not proven yet. I mean, there's a lot of research on all the other one before that. What are the other ones? What are the other
I love
sweeteners?
Splenda personally.
Splenda's a good one. Another one. But there's like 3 or 4 of them, and I was never a fan of those because again, it was as a personal trainer. I saw a lot of people. Oh, I don't use sugar. I use this. I'm like, that stuff is not proven to. We don't know the long-term effects if you use it for a long time. So, and I've also heard back channels that it causes cancer. Of course, I couldn't find all that online, but I kind of believe it a little bit because what it does to the brain, it tricks the brain into thinking,
Mhm.
oh, I'm eating something sweet, and it's 5 times sweeter than sugar itself.
Right.
So until there was no real study done on it that I could run with and pass on to clients because that question has come up before in the past. So I wasn't a fan of that. So back to the story. So I tried, I tried sugar, I tried brown sugar. Then we found out that there was a market for granulated honey.
Mhm.
So we sent out for samples. We ordered a pound, sent it back, and then I started putting it in tea bags with whole leaf tea. Well, actually, I started with Lipton tea bags first, which was garbage. My clients were like, "What the hell is this crap? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, damn!" So back to the drawing board. So I got together with my mentor. He goes, "Well, why don't we?" Because he was a tea drinker. He goes, "Why don't you try loose leaf or whole leaf tea?
Mhm.
People will feel like they're getting with the money's worth and everything." So I was like, "Sure, let's order that." So we ordered that, and I started selling it, and it became a hit. I mean, literally, like, I walked to the gym. Oh, more. I need 5 more tea bags, or I need 10 more tea bags. So that's how I got started. And then I started giving a ton of it away, but you got to give out a ton to get it back. So,
Yeah.
so then we started
Why?
once I realized, yeah,
Why did you stick with the granulated honey though? I mean, was it just purely over taste, or was there more to it?
good question. A couple of things actually. Taste is number one, obviously, but the health benefits, the health benefits
Mhm.
of honey are endless, just like they are with tea. So, and then when you present someone who's a tea drinker with a whole leaf tea with honey already in it, then the guards automatically drop because a lot of people who
Mhm.
drink honey know the benefits of honey. Now, that being said, granulated honey is baked with a little cane sugar. But again, if you look at the ingredients on the back of my box, each bag is only 28 calories, so that's not going to break the bank. It's
Yeah.
doable. Again, you can also control your level of sweetness by when I do demos, I usually do about a 4-minute steep, which is the average. That way, I don't over sweeten my product while I'm serving it. And I always tell people, if you like it sweeter, just let it steep longer. And
Okay.
so they catch on to that, and like come back like, oh, I got it, because I'm as a trainer, I'm not a big sweet person, but when I do drink my tea bag in, and I use about 20 ounces of water, and I take 2 of my tea bags, let it steep, drink it before workout because I get the
Oh,
caffeine stimulation. Yeah, so and I'm getting the health
caffeine's
benefits
good.
of the tea and the honey. And yes, it is. It's in everything, but I control. You get to control it because again, if you look at some of the over the counter supplements that we have, it's loaded with caffeine. It's loaded. I mean, it's as a trainer, former nutritionist, I should tell people to make your own cocktails before you work out because you go and buy over the counter crap. You get certain things in it, but you get a lot of empty fillers that your body doesn't need. So But that, but as far when you said why granulated honey, again, it's the health benefits. You can't go wrong with honey. You just can't. Smells good, tastes good. And when we did the ingredients, we made sure our honey didn't overpower the tea. So that's another thing that people liked as well. So, but the most important thing that they like is the convenience of it. You have everything in the bag. You can, granted, we're not individually wrapped yet, but we're working on that. So what I do is if I'm, out and about, I'll take a few of them, put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in my bag, and I'm out. All I need is, water, and I'm ready to go. So, and I think a lot of people actually love that. They like that. The fact that it tastes good, because you can have a mediocre product and still be convenient, but if it tastes good and it's convenient, they'll, people are willing to reach in the pocket and pay a little extra for it.
How long did it take you from conception to, I guess, were you viewed it that you got the granulated honey and that this business has actually launched its reel?
A good question. It took about, I think from, like I said, I started doing it at my kitchen counter and the boys went down. So that would say it probably took about a good 2.5 years. Because you have to but the thing is, you have to come up with the right ingredients that most people like. If you try to cater to everyone's likes, you're going to drive yourself absolutely mad. So you come to a good consensus of what most people like. And then that took about, I don't know, because we had to find the right tea. We had to find the right granulated honey because, again, I didn't know there was a market for granulated honey. And once I figured that out, there was maybe a good 50 companies that sold it. So including Domino's, the popular sugar brand. But the funny thing about them was when I told them what I was doing, we can give you 5 pounds for 58 cents. I was like, oh shit, give it to me, bring it. When I tested the product, it smelled like honey. But then when you go to steep it with the tea, then it just tastes like sugar. So I was disappointed in that because I thought I had, for the price. So
you had you kind of had to do some chemics there where you had to figure out which granulated honey. And that's part of the whole process because at this point, it sounds like you think the granulated honey might work, but you're not, you don't really have it fully working in action. And you had to find the right one that would produce the right result, or else you would have been back to the drawing board. Is that correct?
Which happened a few times, actually. And I did that by actually giving out samples initially. What I did was, and all at the gym, and not outside the gym. Anyone who came
I want to go to your gym. Sounds like there's a lot of free stuff up there and a good amount of people.
Listen, things happen for a reason. And I think because I was in that setting, in that environment, it was actually it was great for growing the business because again, you had so many subjects to sample. And again, when I started giving out samples, I had people come into the gym and literally, me and my partner Melanie would put together these little pre-wrapped samples and put them on the front desk as people came in and said, take one and tell me what you think. So I got all this feedback. I mean, it kept coming in. It was either in face or in person, or they can go to the website and they can let me know and how they, how it tasted. So once we got, majority, I would say maybe 75%, like the batch that I came out for the week, I was like, you know what? That's good enough. Enough because we went from, 25% to 45% to 60%, all the way up to 75%. And once we got to 75%, I was like, enough is enough. We got the ingredients. Let's start to produce it. So that's how
I think that's one thing. A lot of people hunt in like, hey, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be 100%, stuff like that. And then realistically, they're making their lives so much harder. Sometimes, I guess I don't want to call it shortcuts, but sometimes it's something that if it's acceptable to the majority, then it's good enough to be able to launch with. It doesn't need to be perfect. Sounds like you agree with that.
Right, absolutely. And that footwork has to be done because if you want to get a product out there to the masses like that, not just people at the gym, which is a great start, but that's not the masses. You want to get it out. So and some people did play devil's advocate, and that's what I wanted. That's what I liked about it.
You needed that. You need that though, because you need people. Look, if you have people around you, they're just yes man or yes woman or whatever. It's not going to push you to do the best you can. You need a little bit of that negativity, as long as it's not the toxic negativity that drives you down. You have that devil's advocate that can help push you to make it better. That's
Right.
good.
And that's what happened. I mean, and don't get me wrong, in the beginning, I was beat up pretty bad. I was bruised. I was battered and bruised in the beginning. But, my mentor and my partner, Melanie, were like, nope, nope, nope. So what? We still have something good. We can find a niche. We can make it work.
Okay.
Just keep pushing, keep pushing. So, and again, I mean, and, for instance, in my line of work, for instance, when I do demos, when I'm out at the store, I'm being told no, I would say 80% of the time. That's the norm. I mean, that's how it works. So you can't take it personal. It is. In order for you to grow your business, I mean, you have to. And then the thing with my product is, I let it speak for itself. I wasn't trying to push it too hard. Once they tasted it, most people I got. That's the thing. Yeah. And the only time they didn't like the product was because it had a sweetener in it. That was mainly
and you probably aren't going to win those people over mostly anyways.
No.
I hear they like tea in England. Have you gone to the English market yet?
Not yet, but we do know a few English people who have tried it and who love it. So we're going to try to grow it here first, get it off the ground here first, and then expand out.
Got to walk before you run.
That's right. We want to bite up more than we can chew. So I think we're at right pace.
How many variations of your tea do you have?
Right now, we just have the green and black, and then we have both in decaf. So when decaf just came on board this year. Yep.
Yeah, right here. I got both green and black. Thank you for your team for sending this out. I am definitely, like I told you, I'm not a tea drinker, but as I told everybody that's come on this show, you send me free stuff, I'm going to use it. Whether it's a t-shirt or whatever, sauce, I use it all. I love it. That's the best way to get me to try something new. And I'm definitely going to be trying this tea, but my family, as I was telling you, they're Peruvian and they're huge tea drinkers. They drink, not so much green tea, but they do drink black tea and some other variations and stuff, but they were all excited. I've been waiting for this interview before we cracked it open the drink, but that will happen today. And
thank you.
Talking about family, I mean, family has had a big impact on your life, on your career, on your drive. And this is one of those other synergies that you and I have in common that I think's pretty unique, because when you have something like our kids had, it really gives a whole nother perspective on life, I think. So you want to talk about, your family and the impact it's had for you? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I have two boys, one soon to be 14 this month, and my youngest who just turned 12 last month. Well, my youngest was born with a severe case of epilepsy, which he's still affected to this day. Now, I'm sure you're aware that, it can happen at any age, but the later in age, the better it is to fight it. My son had got it at 3 months. So, and what really did him in, what really stopped the seizures, but, had severe side effects was the major medication that he had to be on. Seizure medications are mainly made for adults, young adults, not infants and toddlers. Yeah. And so they put him on a heavy dose of phenobarbital. I'm sure you're familiar with that medication, or Depakote.
No. Depakote. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had a job right out of college. I was med certified in the state of Connecticut, which means, we take instead of paying all these nurses to come to homes and giving out medication, people like myself could get certified in the medication field and go out and do it ourselves. Obviously get paid less. So I had an idea about all these medications anyway, because you have to know the medications, the side effects, certain interactions with other drugs, you know the story. So when my son was diagnosed with epilepsy and I was told that he was going to be put on phenobarbital, I literally lost my shit, because I knew how bad that drug is. I mean, it stopped seizures, but the side effects, especially in infants, so it basically shut him down. He wasn't shaking and having grand mal seizures anymore, but everything. He's 12, but he's probably 60 pounds, and he's probably 3.5 feet, 4. He's not very big at all. So, and he's full time. He's full-time work. So you talk about motivation. My boys are my motivating factors. That they're the reasons why I want to throw in the towel a few times over the past 10, 11 years. Yeah. But, as a personal trainer, I love this kind of work, but I'm not going to make $1 million doing this. And it's good living, but I'm getting older. I don't want to be a 65-year-old personal trainer. No offense to the 65-year-old trainers out there, because more power to you. It's
they all just hit the unsubscribe button, Maury. Thank you.
But I just needed a more secure future for my boys. So once I really caught on to this idea of the tea, and I latched onto it, I said, you know what, this could be my way out. This could be my way out, my future financially, and I can take care of my boys. I'm a single dad,
and I love that.
Yeah, but they're everything. And everyone knows my kids are my everything. And for me, it's I see them 3 or 4 days a week. I got my oldest doing karate, boxing twice a week. And my life is very hectic because I'm always driving in cars, from training sessions to demos for tea to going to grab the boys for karate to go grab it for overnight. I mean, it's a lot, but and I'm built for this. I take good care of myself, mentally, physically. So, So when it comes to my kids,
does your youngest still have seizures?
Yes, he has actually. All right, he has what they call breakthrough seizures. I'm sure you're familiar with that, right? Breakthrough seizure is a flinch or an eye blink or a brief stare. But what can trigger it for him is the sunlight can trigger it. Direct sunlight in his face can literally trigger a seizure. Also, lack of sleep,
right,
and high temperature. So
you're talking about like the ones where it's kind of like they're staring out into space because they're having a mind seizure, but they're not having the physical seizures. So yeah, my son had both of those, and they had him on a lot of medications. It started when he was living with his mom down in Mexico, and that's why, eventually she was like, okay, I throw in a towel. He can live with you, because she just wasn't able to take care of him because he kept having physical seizures, I think around 14 or so. And, you get to that age where he's having a seizure while he's riding a bike. And it's like, dude, I mean, you could die, it is very, very scary. And, eventually came to me and we saw Dr. San Diego, LA, but it wasn't until finally, this guy, Dr. Sperling at CHOP, that's the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, one of the best experts out there. He's like, well, obviously he's going to keep having seizures because, all these medicines that the doctors put you on, it's not their fault. That's how they're trained, but they actually negate each other. And your son's not getting any medicine. So he pulled them essentially off of all those medicines and he put them on one. He said, look, there's one of possibly two that'll work. Again, if my suspicions are correct, but I think they are. And he tried them on the first one. It didn't work. He tried them on the second one. And the second one has not had a seizure since the first day that he took the medicine. And he was having physical seizures like every 4, 5, 6 days, which I'm told is pretty frequent. And now he turned 18 this year, going to college. He's been seizure free long enough with this medication that we can finally start talking about, well, maybe, we can get you a driver's permit and start getting you to be like a normal 18-year-old. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, and the one thing, like you said, the doctors, that's all they know, meds. And did you ever consider the THC route at one point? Did you consider that?
We did, but because my oldest, he is Mexican American, and he grew up a lot with drug boards, cross border, and there's so much negative stigma, especially from his mom's side, being down in Tijuana and stuff like that, against THC, even CBD. But that was something that was on my radar, and it was pretty much like, dude, I don't care what she says. We've tried almost everything else. If this medicine doesn't work, you're trying CBD for 6 months to see what happens, because we've tried like every other medication out there. And, the worst part is we couldn't find any triggers or anything like that because they've done all the tests. It seems like lack of sleep was probably one of the bigger things. If you stayed up late, didn't have normal sleep patterns, but it was it was tough. But it's also one of those driving factors, I think, that just builds character into fathers like you or me, to where it really helps us, drive to really be the best that we are, because we have one of those conditions in our kids that it's pretty scary. First time I saw him having a seizure, I was all but crying. I mean, it was, it's kind of like I knew what to do if he had a seizure, but like I just paralyzed. Like I didn't know what to do. And then I slowly got used to it.
Yeah, you're bringing back memories here. I was, when you said watching your kid have a seizure, my kid, my youngest, it was 3 months when he had a gram. He stopped breathing for over 2 minutes. Turned blue, eyes rolled back of his head, and it was the first time I saw that. It was, I mean, I was heartbroken. I was like, wow. I mean, it was, and I knew it was serious, because when there's something going on with the brain when you have a grand mal seizure for 2 minutes and you stop breathing. And we almost hit the 911 button, because I kind of knew, because of being in that field at one point, that usually 2 minutes is the cutoff. You want to, if 2 minutes,
we were told, 2 minutes. We were told, well, not with the not breathing, but if he has a seizure for longer than 5 minutes, like around the 4 minute, like between 4 or 5 minutes is probably when, if you're getting closer to that 5 minute mark, that's probably when you should, because the longer that they are in a seizure, apparently it's like the harder it is to get them out, as well as the higher risk for permanent damage to the brain.
Yes. Well, with my son, I mean, 5 minutes, but he would have been dead, because with the grand mal seizure, that means you literally stop breathing. All functions just stop. So for 5 minutes, that would have been, that would have been
critical. Yeah. Scary things though.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's scary to watch. Yeah.
It definitely impacted you and your life though, and your character and your dedication for all that stuff. I mean, it's one of those things that it just builds character in a way that, unless you've been through something like that, and it gives you a level of compassion. Like right now, you're a CEO of an up and coming tea company with, that just launched Diet Tea this year. Now, if one of your kids has issue with, one of your employees has an issue with one of their kids, something like that, it gives you a degree of compassion, because you kind of remember what you went through and how hard that stuff is. And it's you're like, you understand it. They have a duty to perform. Let's see how we can make this work. You're not so quick just to hit that fire button.
Right. Absolutely. And once you realize that it can be contained, like for instance, all of a sudden he just stopped with the grand mal seizure. So we were able to take him off the major drugs. He had feeding tube and everything, because, with some of his drugs, they had, obviously some of these drugs were like really bitter tasting. So they added a feeding tube so we could administer the drugs, but he still has to this day, because they refuse to move the tube until he goes over a certain weight, which is about, I think, 70 pounds. And he's kind of like, he's still 10, 12 pounds away from that. So, but, his name is Tyler. And listen, all I can do at this point is to make sure, me and myself and my ex, his mom, to make sure he has everything he needs, a comfortable life, know that let him know that he's loved, because Ty can push your buttons every now and then, of course, because he's off doing his own thing. But, I love him so much, and it's the hand I've been dealt, but guess what? Like I said, I'm built for it. I want to build a nice little foundation, because, like I said, I'm getting older. So my kids are still young. So it puts the pressure on me to stay young. First of all, and secondly, to build some type of future for them. Down the line, because my oldest son Gavin, which we talk about, who loves his brother, says, look, Dad, my brother has me too, so don't you worry about it. And that makes me feel he's only 14.
That's great.
So I don't want to, don't let him let him live his life, do whatever, go do your thing, and grow up and be a normal kid, and let me and his mom take care of Tyler for now. But who knows down the line, we may need a little help as we get older and he gets a little older. So, but I don't want to get too far down the line about that. It's day to day, and my boys are both happy, they're good, they're well taken care of, and that's all I care about. So we're good.
So we do got to get wrapping up. I have two final questions for you. First one is Maurys Hive Tea. Sorry, Maurys Hive Tea. How long until you view that you'll be able to do that full time and be out of the personal training industry. Do you have a goal set for when you want that to happen by?
Yes, sir, I do. 1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
Great.
Well, because what I've been able to do thus far is I've been able to cut my training in half, and that just happened last year, late last year. So I'm able to do less training and more time with Maurys. And then as the business grows, because right now the accounts and everything is on me. I'm the face of the product, so I'm the one out there going to getting different accounts. So the more I can grow the business as far as retail stores. For instance, I just became a vendor with Yale University, which is huge.
Great! Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yes. The alumni. Yeah, exactly. So the alumni alone, the connection. So it's all building those kind of foundations. And again, I want to get. I'm in about maybe 50, 60 locations. I want to get up to 100 by the end of the year, which is my partner Greg said, can we do 100 by the end of the year? I'm like, sure, why not? We still got 6 months. Absolutely, I can do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I can do another 40, so it can be done. It can definitely.
Yeah, that is amazing. So very last question. How can people find Maurys Hive Tea, and how can they reach out and digitally stalk you?
Yeah, okay. Well, right now, I mean, we're mainly in the Northeast area right now as far as retail stores. But if you're outside the area, you can always go to my website, order. We do right now. We jump on board, guys, because we have free shipping. How long that's going to last, we don't know. But yeah, you can go to MaurysHiveTea.com. You can also, order tea. We also have a 12-month subscription. And also, if you do order the tea and you like it, or if you don't like it,
subscriptions are smart.
That's right. You can go back to if you don't like it or you do like it, go back to the website and give a testimonial. Like I said, I love, when you guys play devil's advocate, it won't hurt my feelings. I can figure out how I can better my business. But yeah, you go to Facebook, Instagram, your normal social media outlets. For as far as Maury, if you have any questions for me, you can email me at Maury@MaurysHiveTea.com, and I respond to every email. So again, if you have any questions, you can also do that. So and listen, I want to thank you for taking the time out, because again, this is a part of growing the business. Now that any way I can get myself out there, and I had to get the gab. I can, being a trainer, I tell you, I met, work with people all, from all walks of life, doing classes of 20 and 30 people. I think that set me up for what I'm doing now.
That's awesome.
And meeting people, talking to people. So and I do appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you coming on here, telling us your story. You got personal stories with us, everything, and this is really awesome. This is why this show exists, to hear your story as a young entrepreneur at heart. And, the challenges that you faced, there you go. And the challenges that you faced, and just be able to discuss, maybe we even give you an idea or two to help you grow your business. That's a goal. But, everybody's in this together, and as a community, we pull each other up. So Maury, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, and I would like to come back. When I'm doing this full time and we've blown up, I would like, and again, I would also really quick. I would love to. One of my things is, I have a lot of other people who are, looking, who have other ideas, and obviously, one of my things is when I do make it is to pull them up, and give them an opportunity as well, because the world we're living in today, it's hard to get off the ground when you have a business. So if I can help other people out, I would do that. So
no, thank you so much. That's awesome. Definitely. What goes around comes around, man. I mean, you've got to pay back those good vibes that people invested in you.
Right.
And that's how you make the world go round, man. So thank you so much for coming on here. And
you enjoy the tea. You enjoy the tea. You and your family.
I'm going to enjoy it. We're drinking it tonight.
Nice. Tonight. Really quick. When you steep, pour the water first, drop the tea bag in. That's the best way to steep it. Drop the tea bag in hot water.
Okay. 4 minutes, right?
4 minutes for a light sweep. Okay.
Awesome.
So you enjoy.
Awesome.
All right.
Oh, we will. Thank you, Maury. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Wow, such an incredible chat with Maury, right? I loved it. It was amazing. First, you all know the routine. If you found this interview helpful, if it sparked those warm and fuzzies, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. But if you really want to do us a solid, Shark Bite Biz is the greatest kept secret out there in the world of business. Share us out to your network. Get us out there on LinkedIn. Get us out there on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are on the interwebs. Get us out there. I'd love to see nothing more than Maury Pittman and his tea out there trending because of Shark Bite Biz. Now let's get back to our rock star guest, Maury, okay? That was just an awesome chat. I can't say that more. I already did. I mean, it was so fun, and I really learned a lot speaking with him. So we'll have a quick wrap up on this episode, but like I'm saying, he's got an incredible story. The sense of providing for his kids has really pushed him into being an entrepreneur by happenstance. He had a great circle of people around him that have helped him build and design his business. The fact of the matter is that he had a business plan, okay? And this wasn't just like a 5-sheeter thing. This was a 100-page document, graphs, charts, all that crazy stuff. I mean, it was professionally done, and that let people know, like, hey, this dude is serious. He wants to make this business real. And there's plenty of stats out there that show the differences in failure rates between businesses that have a business plan and businesses that don't. It is one of the steps that is critical for success. I also love how dedicated he is to this. I mean, right now he's working 2 jobs, personal fitness, and then he's driving all over the place doing these live demos, trying to get people to drink the tea, to try the tea, hopefully like the tea, and, you know, wheeling and dealing, you know, getting in big box stores, all that stuff. That is awesome. I really, really love hearing that. That's drive. That is pure drive, and that is hard to replicate. You just can't fake it to that degree, I think. Another thing I think is his feedback about the criticism. That was very important as well. I mean, he learned early on, you can't please everybody. So having positive feedback is, you know, well, not just positive, but I guess you could say constructive feedback is what allowed him actually to make the ultimate product that he had, using that granulated honey in packaging it in the tea. And, you know, it's kind of cool because he's like, hey, I keep it for 4 minutes. If you want it sweeter, keep it longer. So it's kind of really cool that it's got a mechanism like that to where it can be sweeter if you want. You can get it to your taste. If you want it less sweet, I assume you probably steep it less than 4 minutes. And, you know, being able to stay focused with only having 2 different products, a third one's about to come out, I think really is going to help him be more successful because of the fact that he's keeping things simple. It's not overcomplicated. He's not biting off more than what he could chew. He's doing one step at a time, and it allows him to help build demand with a core set of products. It doesn't happen overnight. And, you know, we all know that, but Maury is definitely on his path to success. Now, what I will say, you know, I showed this during the episode right here, Maurys Hive Tea. I'm going to ask you, support this man, support his company, help it grow. Make sure you go to the website. The link will be down in the description. Get a bag. You'll love it. We tried both the black tea and this green tea. We loved it. I'm not even a tea drinker. I'm a coffee drinker. That's why I have a coffee company. But this was pretty darn good. I was surprised. I mean, it was cool because I didn't have to actually add any sugar or Splenda or anything like that inside of it. So, question of the day. Maury put a new spin on reinventing the wheel by making a product like tea better and more convenient. What is your take on that? Leave a comment down below on YouTube. And as always, if you want to be on the show, shoot out an email, interviews@sharkbitebiz.com. Please don't forget to join the channel. It's only $3 a month. You could become a baby shark or get fresh coffee, deadhousecoffee.com. Use code SHARK, get 20% off your order. And every dime from that sale actually helps this show grow. So, you all know this by now, but I'm David Strausser. This is Shark Bite Biz. We'll see you all next episode. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Shark Bite Biz. We hope you got some insightful info from this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us through your favorite podcast app and visit us on the web at www.sharkbitebiz.com. How has business changed for you in the 20s? Email us at podcast@sharkbitebiz.com so you can join us and share your story.